What's up, YouTube? This is Too Long Forward TV. So, if you've looked at social media since Kamala Harris has entered the campaign as the standard bearer for the Democratic Party, replacing Joe Biden, you look everywhere and they talk about how she's surging. Look at her on YouTube at the partisan platforms for the Democrats. She's surging. This poll shows she's surging. She's surging. You see it in other platforms on social media. You see the pundits on television say she's surging. Well, this is just one poll. So just because of the poll you may like doesn't mean this poll matters more than the polls you don't like. But still, this is a very respected poll. The New York Times Sienna poll has been very accurate historically. If you're a Kamala Harris supporter, this poll makes you a little bit nervous. According to this new poll, Donald Trump, his campaign has been rather rocky since the incident in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. But according to this poll, he has a 1-point lead nationally over Kamala Harris. This article is from Reuters.com. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and his Democratic rival, Vice President Kamala Harris, are effectively tied heading into the final weeks of the election, according to a national poll conducted by the New York Times and Siena College. Trump is up 1 percentage point, 48% to 47% over Harris, according to the survey released on Sunday, a difference that is well within the survey's 3-point margin of error, meaning a win for either candidate in the November 5th election is well within reach. One thing that was noted about this poll is that basically voters feel like they don't know much about Kamala Harris. Matter of fact, almost 3 out of 10 voters, or 28% of likely voters, said they need more information about the Democratic nominee, while only 9% said the same thing about Trump. Now, I don't see in this particular article breakdowns of demographics. I'm trying to see if I can find an article that does a little bit more, goes into a little bit more detail about that. Let's see. Trump and Harris neck and neck. So a lot of these other sites, they want you to sign up and subscribe to stuff. I ain't doing that. Let's try this one. Let's try this. Let's see. Yep, doing the same thing. Bloomberg says subscribe and pay a fee. Kiss my ass. Yep, all of them doing this now. You want more information? It's funny when Doohickey Jenkins is running against Barney Google Fife in non-presidential election years, you don't see all this crap. Anyway, according to this poll, okay, I see this now. According to the polling, 2/3 support abortion being legal. That's why Trump is all of a sudden singing a different tune on that issue. Majority of all voters say Harris is better on reproductive rights. 77% say economy no better than only fair or poor. Majority of those voters, of all voters, prefer Trump as economic leader. So this is the thing, man. This is just one poll, and the one poll does not make an election. When it comes to polling, the only time I think that they really matter is if you see an overall trend emerging or what the overall average of polls are showing. Then again, polling is not what elect the president, it's what the voters say on election day. But I will say this, and it's early, and in some states it just started, so it could just be people don't know that they can early vote or whatever. That could be it. But if I'm not mistaken, some states have already started early voting, right? But from what I've read, early voting, which usually favor Democrats, has been a little bit lackluster. Okay? Now, be fair, it just started. But it's not right now, and it's still early. It's still just September the 8th. September the 8th, yeah. So it's not exactly where people thought it would be, like starting off like gangbusters. It's overall. That could also be just apathy in this election. But I will say this though: if I'm a Kamala Harris supporter, I wouldn't let this poll bother me, but I would say that this would make me a little bit cautious, because every election cycle is different. But remember, in 2016, around this time period, Hillary Clinton consistently had like a 3, 4, 5 point lead over Trump. And Trump was polling more around 41 to 43%. And he overperformed on election day, got 46%. 4 years ago, Biden had like a 5 to 7 point lead. He won by 4 points. Usually Trump was somewhere around 44, 45%. He got 47% election day. So the trend has been for Trump to overperform on election day. Now, will that trend continue? I don't know. But it is concerning that Kamala Harris is within the margin of error and that she's under 50%. That would be concerning if I'm a Kamala Harris supporter. But it's just one poll. Now, if you see a trend emerging, if you see 2 or 3 more polls showing this dead heat, that's concerning because I've said this before. Democrats now tend to have an advantage with national polling because it just favors them. And I've mentioned what that's all about. In the metro populous areas, Democrats overperform. In states like California, New York, they win by landslides, 15, 20, 25, sometimes 30 points. So that tends to skew the overall support nationally. So it's more of a state by state race. But with Trump that close nationally, what I'm saying is don't just assume that this is all going to be this is just in the bag for Kamala Harris. And then I saw Nate Silver's election prediction, and he gives Trump like a 63, 64% chance of winning electoral college. I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is, but Kamala Harris can still win this race. Obviously, it's very close. A debate comes up. I think it's on Tuesday. There's going to be the first presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. That's going to be very important. Not as important as past debates, because I think more voters have made up their minds already than they used to in the past. But it's going to make a difference in a race this close. So this could be an indication that Kamala Harris's surge that we saw in August could have stalled a bit, perhaps. And like I said before, it could be symptomatic of the fact that the media is not representative of what the voters really feel. So we'll see. We'll see. Another thing I want to say too, and I don't think this is being talked about enough. Let me ask you guys something. Do you think that RFK Jr. suspending his campaign and throwing his support behind Trump, do you think that has or will have an effect on this election? Do you think that's possible? Do you think Tulsi Gabbard coming out for Trump will have an effect on this election? Me personally, I don't think it's going to have a lot of effect, but in an election that supposedly is close as this is, anything can help. I'll tell you one thing that won't help. I don't know why they're making such a big deal of Lynn Cheney. You know, what's her name? Lynn Cheney? Liz Cheney. I don't know why they make such a big deal of Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney voting for Trump. That's not going to bring Trump supporters. That's not going to. Bush conservatives are not going to be swayed by that. They're not going to be swayed to vote for Kamala. Some of them already are voting for her or vote independent or not going to vote anyway. I don't think that's really going to have much of an effect. But we'll see. It's still about 2 months away, a little bit less than 2 months away from the election. We'll see, man. Tell me what you guys think.